what's up, people? Let me bring the music down here real quick. Give me a second. Bringing the music down. And here we go. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys had a very profitable, and it was profitable if you were tuned into my stream last night, because we gave you a banger call out for the trade idea. We'll talk about that in depth a little bit more once we actually go to the full screen. But boy, nice trades across the board on the market today. Market actually looked like it was gonna be weak at one point, but then completely reversed back up. So that's a pretty good thing to see. If you're a bull, if you're a bear, then you know you're obviously getting beat up again, and you're wondering, is this market really charging all the way back to all-time highs again? And it looks like it's probably gonna do that. You know, QQQ looked a little bit weaker than the SPY to start off today, and then SPY joined QQQ on the weakness, but both of them managing to bounce and just really rallying to the highs, and keep going higher all day, no break, all gas, no break. So monster moves across the board. And you know, really shout out to Western Digital, which was a trade I called out last night. We do have some earnings names tonight after hours, some good moves off of these earnings names too. So why don't we go over to the full screen, talk about all the hot movers on the day, on the week, and see if there's any trading opportunities. Why do I have my headphones on? If there's any trading opportunities, because I was editing some videos before going live. Hopefully there's some trading opportunities tomorrow to wrap up the week for you and I. Let's head over to the full screen. Let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. I think it's a tad bit too loud. No, I think it's perfect, right? I think the music's perfect right now. Hopefully it's perfect. Maybe I just bring the microphone a little bit closer to my mouth. But hey, let's get locked and loaded. I want to show you guys the earnings board for tonight. We have AVGO, Lululemon, DocuSign, UiPath, IoT, Samsara, which also made a move, Smith & Wesson. I didn't even see that on the board over there. Maybe worth taking a look at that one. SWBI, Guardwire had a nice pop to the upside, and TTAN also having a pop to the upside today. That's your earnings from the after hours. We're gonna also take a look at all the stocks that reported earnings yesterday after hours, and pretty much some of the names that reported throughout the week, some of the hot movers throughout the week. If you have any special requests out there in the chat, feel free to throw it, and you know, I'll be more than happy to talk about it for you and for myself too. Okay, so starting with the earnings board, we're gonna pull up our sponsor. Shout out to our sponsor for hosting this part of the segment, Benzinga. If you are interested in this awesome tool that I use to read earnings report and mainly for day trading, I have it listening all day for the squawk. So you know, it's a mandatory tool for me. If you're interested in this awesome tool, check out the links below in the description. Gonna go find out how Lululemon reported today, and I already know they reported to the downside. There's a big wall of text over there. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be reading all of that. That's an insane wall of text. What is this summarizing to? Reported shares. This is the transcript for the earnings call, I'm guessing. Yes, this is the earnings call transcript. Gotcha. Okay. During conference call, Lulu Athletica executive reported sees $320 million impact on the 2026 year, operating margins on higher tariffs, removal of de minimis. What's de minimis? Okay, maybe I need to do a little bit more research on that one. But the list, they're saying they're seeing an impact coming in because of tariffs. Lulu says guidance reflects assumptions about because they are a Canadian company, so it makes sense, you know. So in the US, they're probably also seeing less demand because America are all going anti-Canada at the moment, and if that's the case, it's possible that Lululemon's taking a little bit of a beating off that. But I'm almost guaranteeing that you know, women are not gonna stop buying Lululemons, and we as men don't want them to. So you know, maybe Trump wants to exempt Lululemon off the tariff list. That'd be pretty cool for humanity's sake. But overall, the earnings report was not the best. I think when I did use AI to quickly summarize the report, the negative sentiment, the score was negative. It is growing year over year to the 7%, but the sentiment score across the board on Twitter, on Reddit was negative. Investors are worried about what they need to do. You also have a lot of memes on Twitter right now coming across the board, which is these memes are. If you just type in LULU, on Twitter, I'm sure you'll find some of these. There you go. That's hilarious. So apparently this is one of their ads. If that's one of their ads, you know, minus 14%. Whereas American Eagle, which reported earnings today and made a monster run up ever since they actually had that advertisements with Sydney Sweeney, and you'll see a lot of these advertisements. Oh boy. There you go. You'll see a lot of these jokes about people saying maybe Sydney Sweeney should be hired by Lululemon now, and their shares will be right back to where they were, and things like that. So it's hilarious to see people make fun of that. But yeah, you know, overall, Lululemon getting smacked to the downside. I before going live, took the liberty to go ahead and see what Lululemon's PE ratio is, and it's very cheap. This is at a $14 PE. Yes, the what you call it, the tariffs are not a good thing. They're not gonna come out victorious with the whole tariff battle, but eventually, you know, this stock has to be a good buy somewhere, and I'm not sure where it is, but the lower it goes, the better the buy is, especially with the PE ratio of 12, right? So that's a very good PE ratio. Stock is well under its 200-day moving average, and I think the lower the stock goes, the better it is. But right now, you would be catching a falling knife. So we are making a move into, I think, 150, 160, which is quite a big move to the downside from where the stock previously was. It's like 15% drop, 15% drop over here, making another 52-week low after another earnings report. So the sentiment for the swing side is clearly short all the pops, and not really buy the dips. But like I said, it's gonna be really hard to look for a short on the name, which PE is in single digits with 1 at the start, right? So we'll see how low this goes. They are, well, like I said again, they're still growing and they're still reporting $3 a quarter. You know, the estimate was $2.85 and they reported $3.10 a quarter. That's still growing quarter to quarter, or compared to estimates, sorry, that's still growing and they're beating estimates. So you know, this is probably a dip buy, but where is it a dip buy is anybody's guess, because, you know, we're now playing with levels that the stock hasn't been in a long time. Like, these are COVID levels that we're about to go test. So, you know, maybe we bounce from here in this area, maybe we bounce from here in this area. There's a lot of room in between that area. There's a lot of even dollars also in between that area. The stock will be on SSR tomorrow, so there's just so many variables out there for us to consider, but all those variables will be mainly trying to make me look for the long at the end of the day, because the report, Guided bad, yes. You know, usually the bear in me would be looking for a short. Where the hell is, there it is. Where the hell is my watch list? Oh, do I have my watch list button still? Oh, baby, we still have the watch list button. Okay, let's go. Maybe that's where we should put the Benzinga screen also. Anyways. Okay, watch list, we forgot to put this as tomorrow. Western Digital, we'll talk about that in a second, but Lululemon, mainly watching it for a long on the dips, you know, even dollar levels, 170, 160, 150. I don't think we'll see 150, but if we do, it is a no-brainer dip buy for me at 150. So for sure watching that one on the board with the high priority, hence label purple. The next stock on the board from the earnings catalyst is AVGO. AVGO was actually doing nothing for quite some time in the earnings call, or sorry, off the earnings report, but I guess because they were waiting for the earnings call. Once the earnings call played out, the stock actually started making a run into all-time high. So if you just quickly go to the weekly chart here, mark up that level right there, which is $317.35. That's basically the all-time high, and we are making that all-time high in the after hours now. So shout out to Broadcom, AVGO, making a new all-time high off the earnings report. Will be interesting to see if we can continue to find buyers above this area, and if we are, I mean, this is the semiconductor victory over here. You're watching AI names win yesterday. However, CRDO did pull back quite a bit intraday today. Well, did it pull back quite a bit or just trade sideways? I guess it just traded sideways, still held above one of the lines that we had drawn. I'm guessing that's the previous all-time high. Yes, exactly. So kind of still a victory in the earnings in the AI basket, and AVGO pouring fuel to that fire over here in the AI basket possibly will also help out the semiconductor basket. So we'll be watching this name without a doubt. Maybe this one gives Nvidia a little bit of a relief rally, and bunch of other semiconductor stocks also some relief rally. Nvidia looks great if you ask me, right here above that little 3-day high on Nvidia. If we do get above, what is it, 172.50 with the help of AVGO's earnings report, that could be something to keep an eye on. Let me just quickly put that in my notes over here so I don't miss out on that one. 172 40 to 172.50 will be on watch for Nvidia. Oh, the damn watch list screen is on. I need to remember to remove that screen for you guys. I haven't used that watch list button in a long time. Anyways, coming back to AVGO, this one looks very saucy. I mean, going into a new all-time high, we're playing with $320 over here in the after hours. You could say 320 under over, but you still have this little range around 316, the previous all-time high at 317.35, and then you have the 320. So realistically, it's this whole box for me that matters, and the more support we have in this box or above this box, the more I like the long on this stock. So currently I'm just gonna put 320 as the inflection level. Let me bring in the watch list. 320 as the inflection level. We're gonna say support 316 because that's where the support is, right? Yeah, 316. So support 316 and high level priority. Ideally don't want to see it below 316, and if it's holding above 320, that's already all systems go on this name. Depends on how it's doing in the overnight market and how it's doing in the what you might call it in the pre-market tomorrow morning. DocuSign is the next stock on the earnings board. This one also going to the upside, and if I remember correctly, DocuSign is actually making that run towards 200-day moving average, and that is accurate. 200-day moving average at $83, and Not only did we push to 83, we also broke above 83 slightly and then traded around 83. So very, very important number right there. A good inflection level, 83. That is your 200-day moving average. If the stock is able to start holding above 83, I don't see why it can't trade above 86 or higher if the earnings report is you know, bullish enough. If it's not as bullish as the move is currently showing up, then most likely 83 doesn't hold, and the stock starts to pull back towards $80 and trades somewhere between 80 to 83. Still would be a positive earnings day, but not really as bullish of an earnings move as people would want it to. And it would make sense because you have the 200-day moving average right above it. So 83 is a pretty important level for me to keep an eye out for. That's the inflection level on DocuSign. However, priority on this name just because of the chart. We're still in very, very much previous levels. You're not playing with new levels just yet. Unlike AVGO, unlike Lululemon, where you're actually making a new 52-week low, you're playing with levels in 2020. Those are good trades over there to keep an eye on. For example, AVGO, you're going into all-time high. Those are good trades to keep an eye on, right? But DocuSign, we're just playing around in previous levels. There's also another clear resistance in this area at 82. So if we're resisting 83, resisting 82, I just don't see how the stock is a long anymore tomorrow by any means, right? So maybe it's a long afterwards for day 2, day 3, but it's not a long tomorrow if we're not holding 82 at the very least, but 83 is still a very important number. So that's for DocuSign. Next stock on the earnings board, we're gonna go to UiPath. I don't think I saw how UiPath moved. UiPath looks like it just bounced between two of my lines from previous history. That's pretty cool, but you know, it looks like the stock just kind of stayed in the box that it's already been in. Kind of a nothing burger move. Maybe in the pre-market, if we do something above here or below here, then we can get excited. But if it's just stuck here, then I'm not too keen on doing anything with that stock over there. I have too many lines here. I'm just gonna delete it. We can put in new fresh lines, and IoT deserves that for sure. Let's actually undo deleting the lines and see how the stock traded. Ooh, look at that. It actually reclaimed one of the lines that we had drawn, and maybe we should leave those lines in, huh? The Prastradamus lines are coming into play. I'm guessing it's one of this line up here that's coming into play, but anyways, we're gonna get rid of them. Looks like positive earnings report, getting a move to the upside, $40 coming into play, but again, 200-day moving average right above. You have a somewhat of a resistance area at $40.50, or let's just say 41, because that's what it is. $41 is a resistance area. Then you have 43, very similar to DocuSign again. So resistance 41, inflection level 43, priority not the highest. So there's better trades out there at the end of the day is what I'm trying to say. 82 and 83, 41, 43. Here's a good stock to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Guardwire, GWRE, reported earnings today after hours and actually made a nice pop to the upside. Are they going into an all-time high here? Probably not into an all-time high, but fairly close to it. And a nice breakout of this channel too. So nice breakout of this channel, and positive earnings report taking it right into $250, and the previous all-time high is $260. Not bad at all. Not bad at all, right? So monster move over there. Currently holding earnings VWAP, but a little choppy around earnings VWAP, and looks like the stock doesn't really trade a lot of volume either. 1.3 million shares traded today with the help of the earnings report, but overall 30-day average is 600,000 shares. So for the day trade side, probably not the best name. Not gonna have a lot of liquidity for us to party with, but still a name worthy to watch. I think this low would be the level to keep an eye on. If we do get below that, there's too much room. Liquidity also is going to be horrible, so spread's going to be nasty. So just be careful when you're trading this name, but I think this is a pretty high priority name, especially if we're staying above 240 on the dips. If we're staying above 240, I think you're going to get some good trades into 250 for some scalps, and who knows if we're gonna go into all-time highs. The report, if I remember correctly, on Guardwire was pretty bullish, so watching that one without a doubt. This one will be a little bit of a higher priority than DocuSign and IoT. TTAN is one of those names again, like Guardwire, doesn't trade a lot of volume. It's in the high price range, doesn't trade a lot of volume, so the priority is garbage. Recent IPO, that's pretty interesting. A little bit of a pop over here in the after hours. I think I'm not too interested to do anything over here. And that is basically the earnings board for today that we are interested in. The three main stocks out of that would be AVGO, Lululemon, and Guardwire. The stock that we called out yesterday, I just want to quickly talk about this one. We talked about Western Digital. Western Digital got thrown onto our radar because STX, Seagate Technologies was going bonkers. So Western Digital popped up on my radar by scanning and pulling back on the chart. When in doubt, zoom out. We were able to find out that the stock actually made a move into all-time high last night, into $86.66, right into that area. So once it popped into that $86 area, I called out, look, this stock might actually have a very good run up tomorrow if the market looks bullish. And look how this stock set up today, right? You got the perfect hold around the open, very light volume sadly, but perfect hold around the open, exactly at the all-time high, right above previous day's high, $86. This was in my notes yesterday. If you tuned into my stream, you would have been able to catch this trade. Pulls back into $86. That's yesterday's high. Holds it perfectly, or I guess not holds it, but bounces off of it perfectly. Then starts to trade around the previous all-time high, and then you have picture perfect, really. No way else to put it. Picture perfect opening range breakout, and if you trail it with the 5-minute bar lows, you really don't get triggered out of your position until what, maybe here. So you get a free ride all the way up to $89 and you're long 87. And even if you don't get pushed out of your position here for however you're trailing it, you would be trailing it a little bit more here. That's $89.62. And if you're trailing it to the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, then you're actually you're probably taking profit somewhere over here if you're not waiting for the close. If you're waiting for the bar to close under 9 EMA, you're probably getting out over here at $90. So you're basically getting a ride from $87 to $90, and this is what letting a trade work for you looks like. Just an awesome smooth sailing ride to the upside. Never had to worry about it. Later on in the day, it pulls back to VWAP, holds VWAP picture perfect again, and just gives you sadly only a 1:1 risk to reward if you took the long something like this. If you took a long something like that and entered over here, then you're basically entering on the break of $90. You're risking $89, and you're hoping that the stock goes into 91, which it does. But that's basically a 1:1 risk to reward. But over here, your risk is basically very tight. You got the 5-minute bar low risk right here for maybe half your size, and for the rest of your size, you could put the stop at 86. So you're basically risking $1, and you end up getting $3 worth of move to the upside on that bad boy. So Western Digital, we called this one out last night. Just tune into the streams Monday to Thursday, baby. Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Very soon, actually starting next week, the streams are going to be 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. I think 4:30 p.m. makes more sense. The reason why I don't want to do 4 p.m. is because I think, you know, I'm going to be a little busy right as the market's closing to go live and do all that stuff. So 4:30 p.m. I think is the better time, actually. Let's just do 4:30 p.m. because it gives me some time to quickly wind down, go get some drink, freshen up, and then you know, come back live or go live at 4:30 and talk about the market. So we'll do 4:30. It's just best. That's for starting next week. So keep that in mind. Stream schedule starting next week will be changing to 4:30 p.m. Okay. Shout out to Western Digital. If you guys were watching my stream last night and if you guys picked up on this trade yesterday, you hopefully made some money on that. Let's quickly say hi to some of the people in the chat. I do have 2 YouTube streams going on right now, and if you're watching me on the vertical stream, I see some people, Dieter, Barke are on the vertical stream. Even TH was on the vertical stream for a second, but he found his way back to the normal stream. Hello all the viewers. Anybody else out there who is not Barke, TH, or Dieter, make yourself known. I would love to say hello to you and get to talk to you, more viewers out there. Barke currently wants me to talk about LULU. Shortable levels for LULU, please. Yeah, I think that's actually a good way to look at it also. Shortable levels for LULU, one of them would be the earnings anchored VWAP. It's currently at $179.70. So possibly a pop into this area would be interesting, because I don't think the stock should be getting back above 180. So 180 would be the first area of inflection, in my opinion. If we do reclaim 180, then today's VWAP, including the after hours, which is 190. So if we do reclaim 180, you might want to wait till 190 that comes into play. And actually notice how the opening drive for the earnings move midpoint candle is actually 192. So anywhere from 190 to 192, I think you would see selling come back into play, given how negative the report is. I don't think that we should reclaim all the way back here. So a pop into 180 should be something to keep an eye out for sure for the short side, and for the long side, you know, the lower it goes, the better it is. Keep an eye for simple trade setups like a Bella scalp, or you know, a capitulation long. Just keep it simple, easy for yourselves, right? Maybe you can even go stupid simple for yourselves. For example, MSTR today, I typed it in my notes. For example, MSTR today, if you went to the 5-minute chart, just straight downside after the open, for you know, very similar to Western Digital, but just straight to the other side, right? Then it had a lower day breakdown, a failed lower day breakdown, and then you know, popped right back to VWAP over here. But if you just look at it on the 10-minute, you could have taken that 10-minute bar high breakout and scalped a quick little $2-3 out of that trade. Later again, 10-minute chart over here gave you a trade at 320 versus 317, and that gave you a move back to 326. So just look at it on a higher time frame. Even though you are scalping it intraday, just look at it for a higher time frame. Go on the 10-minute, go on the hourly chart. Even though you're not scalping on the hourly chart, just look at how the chart looks on the hourly. Look at how the chart looks on the 15-minute, on the 30-minute, on the 10-minute, and then try to come up with a trade thesis idea, and that's basically for Lululemon. So the deeper it goes tomorrow, this is the 10-minute chart. Imagine it goes even deeper to the downside to 160 tomorrow off the open. I think there's going to be a capitulation long here setting up that you might want to for sure be you know, involved in, especially depending on the PE ratio of the stock. And hey, they report $3.25. That's basically it's like $12 a year. So like I'm not sure they actually report $12 a year, but that's goddamn close to $12 a year, right? So not the worst name to go long on if you are interested to do that. Let's pull back to let's actually come back to Western Digital real quick, because this is going a little parabolic. So is Seagate. Seagate and Western Digital are going parabolic, and honestly, the higher these stocks go, the better. The higher in space, the I guess the base is pretty tight. But the point is, for the intraday mean reversion first red day short, these stocks are getting kind of prime and ripe for it. The only downside is they're not the most liquid names, but hey, they're going crazy. Another stock that's going crazy at the moment is SOGP, which I don't think I have on my watch list. Oh, I do. SOGP, this one, I told you, just because it's extended according to our calculators doesn't mean you short it. There were some good setups to go long on this name today, actually. But look, just wait for the first red day short. That's gonna be the easiest trade setup. Instead of you gambling and trying to predict when the first red day short is, just be patient, let it show up. You know, they're clearly trapping you. Look how it's going up on very light volume. So once the carpets start getting rugged and we get like what you call it, the once you start seeing offerings and so on, then it'll be very interesting to keep an eye on this name. Maybe if you're trying to short it on options, then the higher it goes, the better it is, because you are going to get cheaper puts on this name, right? So SOGP going absolutely nuts. Keep an eye out on this one. Open, nice breakout on Open today. One of the most important momentum names on the market, without a doubt. I mean, this is possibly going into the stratosphere very soon. Wouldn't be surprising if we do. Eric Jackson has been outside Drake's door for the last few days now, talking about it. Maybe he still is, I'm not sure, but he was campaigning not too long ago. He tweeted out today, or was it yesterday, that he's expecting the stock to go to $82, then $250, then $500. I mean, that's a crazy expectation, and if that's the case, you know, I might want to buy some shares too. No, it's all fun and games, but I should have bought some shares at $1 and $2. What an idiot for not buying any. And now look at the stock at $6. Very extended, you know, quite a bit of away from the 200-day moving average. We just had the golden cross on Open also. Not sure how to look at it, but I know a lot of big time traders are actually long on this name already, and they're watching Open just blast off. So shout out to them. For the day trade side, I think you know, this is a classic breakout. The longer the stock trades above $6, you don't want to be short on the day trade. So you want to be careful. Let it go parabolic if you want to short it, and then look for the short after it goes parabolic for the first red day short or something like that. Right now, the more it holds 6, the easier the trade is for the long side on OPEN. Want to go through some names that reported earnings this week. CRM, a nothing burger trade as expected. Didn't even push to these areas, kind of just stuck out in this area overall. CRDO, surprisingly enough, pushed back. I expected a lot more from this name. Was very bullish on that report, so was expecting honestly a blast off, but hey, still a green day, up 7%, 7.5%. I think, what was today's low? 135, 134, 132. Close 134. Today's low 133. Going back to the daily chart, the previous all-time high was 134. So you know, I want to say 130, but I'm kind of just, you know, drawing this number out of my ass. It's just a random number, arbitrary number, an even dollar number, not a real game plan at all. So maybe not a trade idea to begin with, right? I'm just kind of making shit up over here. Ideally, if the stock holds today's low, there could be a long back into today's VWAP and then maybe more depending on how the market is. AVGO reported fairly good for the AI sector. CRDO being in the AI sector might just be worth keeping an eye on for the long side if it holds today's low. If it doesn't hold today's low, I'm going to be very doubtful for the long side. So whatever today's low is, 132.73, 133 basically. If we're not holding that, I'm going to be question marking this move. 133. Okay, boom. C3AI, what did you do? You actually bounced and then sold right back down. I did say I can't expect it to sell off below 14, but look, the more it creates a box below or around 14 and then breaks below, the better that breakdown is. But markets are at all-time high. Looking for a stock to go to all-time lows is not the best strategies right now when the markets are at all-time highs. So not a high priority name by any means at all. This is a high priority name by all means. Let's go, American Eagle. This stock flying exactly how we wanted to, up 38% on the day. I tried to think of, I was thinking about buying some shares today. I chickened out. I didn't buy any shares today, but the more the stock holds above today's midpoint, which is around $18, the more I'll be enticed to buy more shares on this name. It traded 100 million shares today. Mwah, beautiful, exactly what you want to see. Average shares is 20 million shares. And now it traded 100 million shares. So if we get above today's high, that's a high volume close setup long. If we don't get above today's high but trade sideways and then get above today's high, that's a delayed high volume close long trade setup. So that might be my trigger to add exposure to this trade and ride it to the upside that I've been dreaming. Oh, Sydney Sweeney, thank you for the setups. So let's see the stock go to 26, maybe even higher than 26. Who knows where this stock could go to. It's got a pretty decent short float also, and with the current way the market's treating shorts, it's a spank. We're looking for those spanks on AEO. AEO's today's high is, I'm actually gonna quickly, give me a second, go open the watch list. Not sure if you guys can see the watch list for AEO. You can, typing in 18 for the inflection level, but today's high is basically 18.85, so that's $19. We're watching 19, and for the support, which is today's low, 17.21. So keeping an eye on AEO over here. High priority for tomorrow, for the swing account, that is, and for the day trade too, I guess. GitLab, a nothing burger as expected. I didn't want to focus on this name and I made the right call. HPE, didn't want to focus on this name either and I made the right call over there. I'm going to stick to not doing that. Asana, I guess, did have volume, but I told you, these are the worst stocks to keep an eye on when they're in previous ranges. And sorry, I'm hiccuping. Did I not make the right call? It actually got smacked from that exact line that we have drawn on the chart. There was a trade there, but not the name to prioritize on. Fig blasted to the downside, just getting destroyed. Even got smoked on the pullback from the earnings VWAP. So wonderful chart over here on Figma. Day 2, I think if it goes to $50, there could be a sneaky hidden long to watch for. So ideally, you want to pray that the stock goes down to $50 tomorrow. Besides that, I don't think there's any real trade setup. Maybe there's a day 2 trade setup that you could say, hey, it pulls back to today's VWAP or the earnings VWAP, and it continues to sell off from there. Yeah, I think that is a valuable setup to keep an eye out for. You might even want to throw in an alert on Figma off. There we go. Throw in an alert off the earnings VWAP on Figma. I'll throw in the alert afterwards. I'm just gonna put it in my notes over here to throw in an alert. Open up Figma, throw in alert on EA VWAP. That's earnings anchor VWAP. And just see if it pulls back and rejects on the pullback around that area and sells off for the short side. Next stock on my watch list over here, MSTR. Nice little short on MSTR today again, but basically a failed breakdown as it reclaimed that previous low. So basically pulling back. Bitcoin looking good again. Bitcoin, I think if I remember correctly, went back up a little bit. So Bitcoin looking good again. Well, not looking good, but it's not looking horrible. So that's helping out MicroStrategy, and Coinbase just basing sideways, not really doing a whole lot at the moment. Potentially even creating a little bit of a bottom over here, and then getting ready to blast off to the upside again. Dieter saying MSTR possible inclusion tomorrow after 5 p.m. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll see. If they do, that'll be a very good news for MicroStrategy, but I don't know about that. Let's go to the hottest large cap names, the recent hottest large cap names. That's going to be Alphabet, Google, and Apple. Both of them looking very good. Apple, actually, I was again thinking about buying some today, but I chickened out. But look, it's behaving exactly how you want it to. Even Tempest AI was looking very weak today, but look at that bounce right back on Tempest AI. My account looking fairly well, except for MSOS. MSOS, we had to take a loss on that one. Damn you, MSOS. Anyways, I got distracted. Coming back to Google, multi-day upside, back-to-back green days over here. The news is fairly bullish across the board for both these companies. At least that's the way the market's reacting to it. I just don't like to day trade Google. Apple is honestly a better day trade, and it's set up that way. If you guys were watching my stream yesterday, I told you guys to wait for the pullback into today's VWAP or trade around yesterday's high, and it did give you a long around that area. So shout out to Apple. I think you can continue to watch Apple for some trade ideas. What the hell did I just do? Why did it just automatically... I feel like... Yes, I felt like something happened, and that was my indicator got turned off. Did all of them get turned off? No. Okay, anyways. Large cap names for the most part. I haven't been tracking them, I'll be honest. Except for Google and Apple. So what's going on in the other large caps? Looks like Microsoft's actually giving you a decent trade opportunity setting up very soon. Once we reclaim 510, 511 on Microsoft, that's probably a good trade opportunity coming in. You don't want to miss out on that one. Throw some alerts. Make sure that you are notified when Microsoft's playing with the 510 area. Next stock is Meta. Where's Meta doing these days? Meta, something similar to Microsoft, but Meta is, very, very spready. Not the best name to day trade. Nvidia, we talked about real quick. Amazon was very strong today, but I haven't really seen where Amazon is on the daily chart in a little while, because I've been salty for getting stopped out on Amazon and then watching it come back over here. That's a fairly good level on Amazon to keep an eye out for. 236.50, so purple priority on Amazon, 236.50 area. Let's see if the current market momentum can take Amazon above that little high also. Last but not least, Tesla. how are you doing? You're forming a fairly good base at the moment, right around the 200-day moving average. And if the market is actually getting ready to, go back into all-time highs, this is not a name to be ignoring. Yeah, Trump and Elon are having their little dispute. This is a beautiful wedge too. I mean, this is awesome. Can't wait to see how this resolves, hopefully to the upside, and when it does, this easily could go to 500 and more. Might be looking to snag some shares of Tesla myself. We'll see if we can, using TSLL and so on, because this is looking a little juicy over here. Keeping an eye out for the swing account. For the day trade, I'll just wait for volume and breakouts to come into play to the north side. Palantir did not go to 150, so still waiting for that setup to come into play. Robinhood, nothing burger. A-Lab, nice move back on A-Lab over here. If anyone's interested to snag some shares in this area, your stop is still 160, just so you know. But you can snag some shares in this area on the dips and try to sell it on the rips, and then try to hold some for the bigger move. A-Lab, A-Net, they're all doing the same thing over here. A-Net actually might even give you a possible breakout above 142.50 and continue its post earnings rally. So that's the earnings day pop. It basically traded sideways since earnings day, and then now getting ready for a breakout of that earnings day high. So that could be something to keep an eye out for. 142.50 area on ANET. NET, basically similar moves again, same as A-Lab, but lower liquidity, so not as high of a priority. Last few stocks over here, MongoDB setting up perfectly, picture perfect. So once we do get the breakout above 320, 350, however, the current market environment is not really the one for breakouts. That's the worst part about it. We're seeing a lot of stocks break out and then have failed breakouts and then pull back. So shitty moves across the board, but let's see if this one ends up being a good one. So taking MongoDB over here past 320, 350 for the day and for the swing account. For sure need to set my alert again. My alert went off today, but need to throw another one here and make sure that we don't miss this bad boy tomorrow. Most likely going to have that alert trigger in pre-market itself, and I'm gonna fucking miss it. So let me set it in a way where I don't miss it by doing every time. That way it actually annoys me every time it goes around that area. Open, we talked about that real quick. SOGP also talked about that. Just wait for the first red day setup. Watch it every day without fail. Watch it like a hawk. And HIMS, making that move, bringing in volume again and making that move. So I might actually think about buying some shares of HIMS and putting a stop right around $40. So that'll be looking to buy around 46, 45, and then put a stop at 40 bucks. See if there's a good swing trade opportunity setting up on this bad boy. So on the watch list also HIMS. Let me put in my watch list 45 to 46 area. All right, that's basically the watch list for tonight, or sorry, tomorrow. Quickly show you guys how next week is looking. Next week is very, very hot. Sadly, I'm not with my prop broker yet, so I will not be able to trade this very hot IPO sector coming into next week. Hopefully, you guys will be able to capitalize on that. I'll walk you guys through it, so make sure you tune into the streams. And once again, streams will be at 4:30 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So make sure that you tune into those. Even if you don't tune into those, you can always watch them after the stream's over. Anyways, they're gonna be free as always. So make sure you watch them and hit the like and hit the subscribe if you enjoyed the content that we're putting out over here. Lots of IPOs coming out next week. Tomorrow is a little bit of a busy economic calendar. Sadly, for Friday, sometimes Fridays are nothing burger economic calendars. So tomorrow a little busy. 8:30 8:30 you have couple or all of them actually, so I guess that's actually a really good thing. 8:30 is all the events. You have the unemployment, private non-pharma payrolls, participation rate, non-pharma payrolls, average hourly earnings. So all the important numbers coming out tomorrow are at 8:30, and nothing during the market hours other than some commodity numbers. That's actually a very good thing because you don't have to worry about a random number coming out and you getting caught off guard. Now you only have to worry about if your stock has earnings call pre-market, and if it does, you know, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to that. If one amazing tool that I use for that is actually Perplexity Finance. Shout out to Perplexity for that. They've been killing it with their tools over here. For example, you can just click on Broadcom. It shows you 5 p.m. so they already had their conference call. Lululemon already had their conference call. DocuSign already had their conference call. So for the most part, all stocks that we talked about had their conference call already, so I don't have to worry about that. And also, if I need to, Zumiez reported today. Interesting. Also, if I want to dive deeper into any of these conference calls, for example, AVGO, I mentioned how the stock was doing nothing after the original earnings report, but then managed to make a pop later on, and that was very much aligned with the conference call, right? 17:05. And what time did they have their call? Exactly at 17:05. Here's a quick little analysis from the conference call, and you can have a transcript if you want to read the transcript yourself. You can analyze the documents from the earnings report, and you know, everything right here in front of you at a click of a button. So shout out to Perplexity Finance for making the finance sector amazing. They just keep on building on it. Even the chart has been getting better. Previously, it was basically a ripoff of Google, but now it's much better. It's so much cleaner. You actually have the after hours integration too. I wish you could toggle between bar charts and line charts, but this is so intuitive. Look how quick and smooth it is. If you want historical data, 1 day data, this is 1 minute data, right? Bang. 1 minute data, 1 month data, 1 year data, one maximum data. I wonder how far this goes back to. Jeez, I don't even want to spend the time scrolling at the moment. So awesome tools over here from your boys over at Perplexity Finance. On that note, let's call it a night. Let's quickly shout out to myself. Shout out to myself. That's not what I want to do. Go check out all my affiliate sponsors: TraderSync, Trade Ideas. No longer Trade Ideas. I'm no longer affiliated with Trade Ideas. I meant Traders Insight, TraderSync, Traders Insight, Benzinga Pro, and Flash Research. Also check out all my social media links right here to the upside. I will catch you guys Monday once again, 4:30 p.m. Go make some money. Have a great weekend. Peace. Yeah, and other positions too, all across the board. Magnificent Seven also had a pretty good day on themselves today, so pretty good moves across the board. Tech basket get destroyed. Get ready for trade off of. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here. Back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day. So let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors: Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, TraderSync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out.
Adios.